Stephen A., do they force a Game 7?
Golden State? No. I wish they would. I mean, listen, I crave a rematch between LeBron James and Steph Curry, with LeBron having Kevin Love and Kyrie healthy and the Golden State Warriors fully loaded. I crave it. I wouldn't be unhappy about that in any way. Trust me on that. But I just think that I see a little something different in Kevin Durant's eyes. I see the game is still there, and even though he's missing shots at times, you know, when the big moment arrives, I mean, he's not just scoring, he's leading this team. And Russell Westbrook is putting everybody on notice that he's one of the top 5 players in the world. He's one of the top 5 talents in the world. This dude is on another level. When you combine that with Billy Donovan and his ability to make adjustments, the size and physicality and their ability to impose their will on the opponents, I just think that OKC is coming together. I can't see them losing Game 6 on their home court Saturday. I'm not rooting against them for any, any reason, any negative reasons whatsoever. I would just love to see Steph Curry and LeBron meet, and so we can validate or invalidate Golden State's title from last year, since LeBron was all by his lonesome with his primary guard being Matthew Dellavedova. But unfortunately, I just think it's one of those situations where Kevin Durant is putting the world on notice that he and his team, they're coming. And I find it hard to believe that OKC is going to lose on their home turf in Game 6. Game 7, I couldn't pick against Golden State. But I don't know if they can get it to a Game 7 based on what I have seen them do throughout this series.
Unfortunately, I agree. I would also love to see a Game 7. Then again, if Golden State managed to steal Game 6, I'm not even sure I would pick Golden State to win a Game 7, because that would require 3 straight wins over Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. I don't know if the tank would be full enough, or it would just be empty. I would feel like emotionally, where I'm not sure they could get it back up for a Game 7, even at home before that crowd. And by the way, speaking of crowds, as you well know, this Oklahoma City crowd, if it's not the best 6th man in basketball, it's right. It's 1 and 1A with Oracle, and they're going to be out of their minds. They are going to literally raise that roof tomorrow night, which is why in the games I've watched Golden State play now at Oklahoma City this year, 1 in the regular season, 2 in the post, I've seen not enough signs of life from Golden State. I can't make a case, because I can't hang my hat on any one thing where I say, oh, well, they did that. Even the regular season game. Remember that great game on Saturday night on ABC? Oklahoma City was up 12 in the 4th quarter, and that was the old Oklahoma City, the baby Oklahoma City, if you will. They hadn't figured it, hadn't grown up yet. They had not figured out how to close deals. So it took Steph making the bomb of the year. Remember the 3 from, what was it, like 35 feet or whatever, to force overtime. And then remember, Kevin Durant fouled out shortly into overtime, and still Oklahoma City had a 5-point lead in overtime, could not hold it. Steph scored 12 in overtime to win the regular season game. Then in games 3 and 4 in Oklahoma City of this series, it was a mismatch. Golden State overwhelmed, overmatched, overrun. I don't think it's going to translate. What that heart of the champion that we saw last night, to quote the great Rudy Tomjanovich, I don't think it's going to be enough back in Oklahoma City. And Stephen A., as you know, last night, Golden State won all the hustle categories for the first time in this series, all the guts and toughness categories. They got to the free throw line 10 more times. They had 13 steals to only 8. They had 7 blocks to only 2. They did all the little things because they wanted the game more. They were more desperate last night, and now I can't see that that's going to travel. And listen, Kevin Durant last night in the 4th quarter was not very good. He was 3 for 10 and 1 for 5 from 3. He owes his team, and I will bet you he will deliver. He's going to be the man in this game, and when he's on against Golden State, he's just unstoppable to me. I know you say Russell's unstoppable too, and I get that, but Kevin Durant is just nuclear. when he gets it going.
I would never. I would never try to imply that Russell Westbrook's more unstoppable than Kevin Durant.
Okay.
Now, I know better than that.
Okay.
And I applaud Kevin Durant for attempting 10 shots in the fourth quarter.
Okay, that's fair. But he just wasn't quite on. There were times last night when I agree with you. In fact, I tweeted, Kevin Durant's got that look in his eye, and I thought he's just going to finish them off. And he lost it in the fourth quarter. Not going to lose it in 4 quarters tomorrow night in Oklahoma City, which brings me to Steph Curry. Look, he was magic all year. And I'm not just throwing that around loosely. He was just like literally magic. He would do things we've never seen before. I don't think he's right now. I don't think his shooting elbow is right. I think it's still bothering him from the fall that he took where he had the tennis ball size swelling. And Stephen A., you know his three-point stroke. It's out of rhythm. He doesn't have the easy release from deep that he used to have. He doesn't trust his three-point stroke the way he used to. He made 3 last night that I think he just willed in. But, you know, for Steph, just 3 threes. And if you told me going into last night that Oklahoma City would out three-point shoot Golden State in Oracle 13-9, I'd say there's no way that Golden State's going to win that game with only 9 threes and only 3 from Steph. But he did the little big things down the stretch that saved the night and the day and the series. I don't trust him to go into Oklahoma City and just take the game over. He needs to make 10 or 12 threes for them to pull this off. He just doesn't look capable of that to me right now. So how do you make a case?
Well, I can't make the case. That's my whole point. I think that, look, Steph Curry's a superstar. And I might sit up there and have no problem with Russell Westbrook laughing because, again, I knew that wasn't the question directed to him, but I knew how he embraced it. And I don't blame him for laughing at that, but that's just defensively. And it's not to say Steph Curry can't play defense. It's just that he's not an elite defender. He's an elite offensive player. That's what he is, the greatest shooter I've ever seen. And I think he'll show up tomorrow night, and I think he's going to have a big game. But I just think that ultimately, I do. Okay. I just think that ultimately their guard play and perimeter play is going to be overwhelmed by the combination of the greatness of Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant combined with their physicality. I don't think Steven Adams is going to find himself in foul trouble. I don't think that the Enes Kantors and the Serge Ibaka's of the world are going to play small.
No,
I don't think a Dion Waiters is going to go scoreless like he did last night.
No.
I just think that they're going to all be so hyped at an opportunity to go to the finals. They're smelling blood in front of that crowd on their home court. And I think it's going to be too much for Golden State to overcome. If Golden State can overcome that, they'll win Game 7. I just think that they won't.
And Andre Robertson will not at home foul out. He fouled out last night. It's a big blow to them because he's their elite defender.
That last foul was a stupid foul on his part.
It was stupid.
That last foul was a stupid foul on his part.
Yeah.
It's got to be smarter than that.
So do you think this will be a 10-point game, 15-point game?
I think they'll ultimately pull away and win by about 10. It'll be tight, but it'll just be too much in the end, and I think they'll pull away.
Feels more like 15 to me. Oklahoma City by 15, back in the finals, back versus LeBron.
Wow. So both of you guys agree Oklahoma City will close this thing out on Saturday night. Interestingly, they opened as a 2-point favorite.
Unfortunately, I just think it's going to happen.
In Vegas. It is only, if they close as the favorite, it would only be the second time in the last 2 seasons that the Warriors were not considered a favorite in a playoff
And by the way, the Warriors have been favored every game of this series, which is mind-blowing until now.
Correct. All right, let's move on. In the NFL, we know it is the land of second chances. The Ravens are giving Ray Rice one as they bring him on as a player advisor. Is this a good look for the team? We'll discuss that after the break.